Hello guys, welcome back to another video with me. Today guys, this is part 3 of the video series. I will be making a playlist, so yeah, with all my videos, so yeah. Let's start. My top 20 favorite British monarchs, part 3, George III. And yes, guys, today we're doing George III, and he was king for a good 60 years, from 1760 until his death in 1820. And he was also known as the Mad King because when he was 27, he started getting really mad, and yeah. He's the grandson of George II, who died in 1660. He was king in 1727 after his father's death, George I. He suffered a stroke, by the way, so but George II died. It's just really funny, but he actually died on the toilet. It's actually really funny because it's actually the funniest death I've ever seen. So yeah. We're also going to be talking to you guys about his what cause of death he had, his wife, and his 15 children. But there's a problem. George III did actually have 15 children, but only 13 of them survived. Only 2 of them died of smallpox at a young age. So let's get started. George III, which is George William Frederick, was born on the 4th of June, 1738, and died on the 29th of January, 1820. He was King of Great Britain and Ireland from the 25th of October, 1760, until his death in 1820. Now, by the way, guys, he was king on my birthday, but obviously I wasn't there because I wasn't born until 2009, so centuries later. The Acts of Union 1800 unified Great Britain and Ireland into the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, with George as its king. He was concurrently Duke and Prince-Elector of Hanover in the Holy Roman Empire before becoming King of Hanover on the 12th of October, 1814. He was a monarch of the House of Hanover, who, unlike his 2 predecessors, was born in Great Britain, spoke English and his first language, and never visited Hanover. Oh, so different between George the First and Second. They were both born in Hanover, but George the Third was born in Great Britain, so he never went to Hanover. Oh, that's crazy, man. I didn't know he didn't go to Hanover before. I think with George the First as King of Great Britain, I feel like he didn't really wanted to learn English, because like a lot of people were blaming him for being more German than English. But yeah, I don't know why. And it's very sad to hear because I don't know why. And this is the portrait of George. And this is his coronation portrait from 1762, 2 years after he was king. His reign was from the 25th of October, 1760, until the 29th of January, 1820. His coronation was on the 22nd of September, 1761. His predecessor was George II, his grandfather, and his successor was his son, George IV. His regnant was George, Prince of Wales, from 1811 until 1820. Wait, is he talking about George IV? Wait, George IV was the... Oh, my word. Okay, never mind. He was born on the 4th of June, 1738, in Norfolk House, St. James Square in London, and died on the 29th of January, 1820, at the age of 81, in Windsor Castle. Oh, no. And plus, by the way, this is actually really stupid, because he was the oldest George to die in the Hanoverian. Actually, 2 of them were the oldest, Victoria and George. They both died at the same age, but she died in 1901. Now, technically, they both died of, Victoria died of a stroke, and George died of this natural cause. It's like a type of illness that he had during his reign. He was buried on the 16th of February 1820 in St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle in the royal vault. His bones. So this is his wife. His wife is Charlotte of Metzenberg-Strelitz, who was married. They were married in 1761 when she was only 17 and George was only 23 at the time. Now this was when he had his coronation, but this was back in September, by the way. Charlotte was born in 1744 during George II's reign, but when it was a year after he died, they were married in 1761, but she died in 1818, just 2 years after, before George II. Not second, he's already dead. George III died. And these are all their 15 children. We have George IV, Prince Frederick, Duke of York and Alebyne, William IV, Charlotte, Queen of Wittenberg, Prince Edward, Duke of Kent and Strelin, Prince Augustus Sophia Elizabeth Legram of Hesse-Homburg, eldest Augustus, King of Hanover, Prince Augustus, Frederick, Duke of Sussex, Prince Adolphus, Duke of Cambridge, Princess Mary, Duchess of Gloucester and Edinburgh, Princess Sophia, Prince Octavius, Prince Alfred, and Princess Amelia. Now, they did have 15 children, and that is the most children. I think because since Queen Anne was second place for the most children, she had 18 children, by the way, but she lost all of them because she had really bad sticky blood. That's called Hughes syndrome, and I'm gonna make like one video about it, about what actually causes Hughes syndrome, because back in I think it's like around the 18th century, back then there was no cure for it. I don't know what else to think, but I don't know how she has sticky blood. If they had my, like, I'm very sorry, guys. I'm actually really tired. I don't know if they're gonna add any I don't know how to say it. It's like these weird things like medicine. If they had medicine back then, she could have saved all of their babies' lives. But in the 1700s, she lost her only son, William, Duke of Gloucester, who died of an unknown illness at the age of 11. His names were George, William, Frederick. Well, obviously, now, George III did have 15 children, but only 2 of them died of smallpox, which was Prince Octavius and Prince Alfred. They died of smallpox, and the 13 children survived to adulthood. George IV and William IV became king, and yeah. His house was Hanover. His father was Frederick, Prince of Wales, and his mother was Prince Augusta of Saxon-Gotha. George was born during the reign of his parental grandfather, King George II, as the first son of Frederick, Prince of Wales, and Princess Augusta of Saxe-Gotha. Following his father's death in 1751, Prince George became heir apparent and Prince of Wales. He succeeded to the throne on George II's death in 1760. The following year, he married Princess Charlotte of Mecklenburg-Strelitz, with whom he had 15 children. George III's life and reign were marked by a series of military conflict involving his kingdoms, much of the rest of Europe, and places Father Alfred in Africa, the Americas, and Asia. Early in his reign, Great Britain defeated France in the 7 Years' War, becoming the dominant European power in North America and India. However, many of Britain's American colonies were soon lost in the American War of Independence. Further wars against revolutionary and Napoleonic France from 1793 concluded in the defeat of Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. In 1807, the transatlantic slave trade was banned from the British Empire. In the later part of his life, George had recurrent and eventually permanent mental illness. The exact nature of the mental illness is not known definitely, but historians and medical experts have suggested that his symptoms and behavior traits were considered with bipolar disorder or priorly. In 1810, George suffered a final relapse, and his eldest son, the Prince of Wales, was named Prince Regnant the following year. The king died in 1820, aged 81, at which time the Regnant succeeded him as George IV. George III reigned during much of the Georgian and Regency eras. Oh yeah, I see, Georgian and Regency eras. There's two back in Hanover. Whoa! At the time of his death, he was the longest lived and longest reigning British monarch, have reigned for 59 years and 96 days. He remains the longest lived and longest reigning male monarch in British history. Oh, so the second longest male British monarch is Henry III, who reigned for 56 years. Oh, I was close. It was almost 60 years, but it's actually 59 years, almost 60. So, let me just have a quick view about George III. Then, oh shit. Oh, shoot. Look at my elbow. Okay, okay, sorry about that. Here's some quick notices. I forgot to rate James II yesterday in my video. James II, I rate him a 6 out of 10. George III, I might have to rate him a 5 because I do like him, but I kind of don't because I give him a 50-50 because, oh my word, he's got too much madness. When he started becoming mad when he was only 27 during his reign. And I don't get me wrong, because I think his wife tried to calm him down, but they had a really happy relationship. And since they didn't have their grandfather, George II, who died in 1760, I think they didn't mention his George I being his great grandfather, because he died in 1727, right? And then, yeah, but his father died in 1751, Frederick, Prince of Wales, and he was the son of George II, and they didn't get along, and also all the Georges didn't get along. Like, George I didn't get along with his son, George II. George II didn't get along with his son, Frederick, Prince of Wales. I think Frederick didn't get along with George III, and George III didn't get along with George IV, but I'm not sure if George IV didn't get along with his brother, William IV. I don't know, his younger brother, but I don't actually know, because that is a trick question. That's actually pretty tough. Like, that's actually pretty tough, because I don't know if they got along or not. And then we have Victoria, who's the last Hanoverian queen, but she reigned longer than George. She reigned for 63 years, from 1837 until her death in 1901. She was also aged 81, just like George, but George was king at the age of 22. He's the youngest British monarch, from Hanover, to become king. Well, George I became king at 54. George II was 47 or 43, 47, I think. George III was 22. George the Fourth was like 57, and then William the Fourth was also 64. 64. He's the oldest to be king, but they died in were younger. Well, George the First died at the age of 67. George II, 76, and then George the Third, 81. George the Fourth, the same as George the First, 67, and William the Fourth was 71. So he was the third oldest, and yeah. I don't know how to say this, but because since George the Third is actually a really mad king, I watched this video from Horrible Histories, and it's like a song from George the Fourth where it said I couldn't stand my wife, and basically it includes George the Third in the video, and he is completely bonkers. At the start, you would see George the Fourth feeding the ducks some bread, and then you would see George the Third in a wheelchair, and he couldn't walk, and he said banana because he had a crown on his head. Because in all of the portraits I see, none of the Georges wore the crowns, because they were like didn't wear them, which I don't understand why. It just looks a bit silly, but yeah. I hope you guys did enjoy this video, by the way. Oh, and just to let you know, I have another recording app. The new recording app is called CatCut. It's where you edit your videos and you make edits with them. I was planning on using it after the next half term because I'm going to probably be doing some Roblox edits. I'm going to be recreating some of my old Roblox edits that I didn't get a lot of views because yeah, I'm not very good with it. And yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy it. Please like and subscribe. Part 4. Oh, just to let you know, one more tip. The House of Holborn video, which I was supposed to post like this week, is going to be moved into next week or some point. Because it depends if I'm going to be doing it or not. I don't know, because it includes the 6 wives. We have there's in the 6 musical, there's Catherine of Aragon, Anne Boleyn, Jane Seymour, Anna of Cleves, Catherine Howard, and Catherine Pole. Now, obviously, they're the wives of Henry VIII, which I'm not doing. Oh, and George III is my 13th favourite British monarch. I don't know why I picked him as my 13th favourite. Because I have all... I don't know. Because, I don't know, because in my top 20s video, I did say I picked George III as my favourite, my 13th favourite. But I don't know why, because technically it's a bit complicated just to ask, but who is George III and what does he look like? Well, technically George III is the Mad King, and yeah, don't get me wrong, he died 3 centuries ago until the 21st century. Yeah, if they were alive, they would be like 200 years old, I think. It depends how old they were. Well, George was 81 because he died in 1820. He was born he was 18 years away from being 100 because, not 18 years, 19 years because he was born in 1738. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Part 4 will come out soon, so like and subscribe, guys.